Hello and welcome to this recorded presentation about the Wheatbelt Food Community Project. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we are viewing this video. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and the beautiful ocean and thank them for protecting this country for thousands of generations. I respect all elders past and present. So here we have pictured our food community team, which is led by Dr. Stephanie Godrich, including Professor Amanda Devine, Associate Professor Mel Stonen, Isabel Kira, Jess Doe, and Emily Humphreys. And together we make up the Food Community Project team. So the Food Community Project aims to identify, map, evaluate, and strengthen government and community food security initiatives across the WA regions to support food security action. So we're conducting this work across 6 WA regions, including the Wheatbelt, Midwest, Great Southern, Kimberley, Pilbara and Goldfields. And in this recording, we'll be focusing specifically on the Wheatbelt Food Community Project findings. For some geographical context, the Wheatbelt region spans over 155,000 square kilometres, includes 43 local government areas, and has a population of approximately 75,000 people. And this graph here represents the median age range of residents in the Wheatbelt region. So almost half of the population is aged between 25 to 65 years, and then almost 1/4 are 65 years or over, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Throughout 2022 to 2023, the Food Community team conducted interviews with government and community-led food security initiative leaders across the Wheatbelt region. We conducted interviews with 20 participants, and most of the participants had a coordinator, program coordinator, project manager, team lead, or fundraising officer position, and the remaining were health professionals or CEOs, chairs, executive officers, or presidents. The participants we interviewed represented 24 initiatives across the Wheatbelt region. Initiatives were categorised as emergency food relief and community programs, food literacy and health promotion projects, community gardens and food swapping groups, and businesses, networks or alliances. The majority of the initiatives across this region, so 10 initiatives, were classified as emergency food relief and community programs, and then 8 were classified as food literacy and health promotion projects. Then you can see the remaining participant demographics listed on this slide here. The Food Community team matched the interviewed initiatives across the lifespan to showcase where the focus areas of the initiatives are and where there are opportunities. And as you can see here, majority of the initiatives that we've interviewed are focused on school-aged children and adults, and they're less focused on those early years, youth-aged and senior or older adults. The Food Community Project works through this systems change framework. We have 9 different focus areas that are organised into our interview guide that we use to ask questions of the people who are running food initiatives. Focus Area 1 is about shaking things up. It's disrupting the status quo and the current way of working. Focus Area 2 is about joining up and rippling out to bolster a potential new way of working. Focus Area 3 is about creating identity and combining resources, which helps to move the system of initiatives towards a new way of working. Focus Area 4 is about embedding, watching and responding to that new way of working. And Focus Area 5 is about building collective knowledge. So it's about helping people keep informed about the big picture of food security. These first 5 focus areas are about helping communities to shift towards a more effective way of supporting food security. Then focus areas 6, 7, 8 and 9 relate to two-way communication between government and community. Focus areas 6 and 7 are about government exploring food security solutions and innovations that already exist within the community. And focus areas 8 and 9 are about governments taking those learnings about community food security solutions back up into government systems to embed them in there. And then each of these focus areas are made up of a number of characteristics, of which there are 36 in total. So now we're going to have a look at some analysis of the characteristics that were most commonly possessed by initiatives across each focus area, as well as some example activities that these Wheatbelt initiatives currently undertake. So our food community team analysed the participants' comments from the interviews thematically to gain an idea of the most common themes across each focus area and their characteristics. So having a look at Focus Area 1, initiatives across the Wheatbelt region were most likely to possess characteristic 1.5, which is all about identifying clear geographical or issue-based boundaries. For example, one of the Wheatbelt programs focused on addressing local issues of having limited access to fresh fruit and vegetables. Then at Focus Area 2, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 2.1, which is about encouraging that safe to fail experimentation for food security. So, for example, some Wheatbelt initiatives were flexible and adapted their models from providing food hampers to providing food vouchers. So, these were some emergency food relief organisations in the Wheatbelt. Then at Focus Area 3, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristics 3.1, which is about creating a shared awareness and understanding of food security using words and images. So, for example, some initiatives used branding and communication material with minimal words to ensure the accessibility of food security information. Next, at Focus Area 4, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 4.1, which is about fitting within local constraints, context, or needs. So, for example, some emergency food relief initiatives in the Wheatbelt adapted their food relief packages to fit within funding constraints and food donations. Then at Focus Area 5, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 5.2, which is about using technology to understand and share information with others addressing food security. So this included initiatives sharing information about food security through electronic platforms such as social media and e-newsletters. Now having a look at Focus Area 6, initiatives in the region were most likely to possess characteristic 6.2, which is about supporting governments to provide accessible information about food security. For example, some initiatives were listed on local shires and CRC's websites as a place for emergency food relief. Then at Focus Area 7, initiatives in the region were most likely to possess characteristic 7.2, which is about assisting elected representatives to consider community views and ideas about food security. For example, some Wheatbelt initiatives provided de-identified case studies about their work to local politicians. Then moving on to Focus Area 8, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 8.2, which is about linking community-led activities and government strategic plans. For example, community gardens were listed as an initiative supporting health and wellbeing on their local shire's community strategic plan. And finally, at Focus Area 9, initiatives were most likely to possess characteristic 9.2, which is about providing elected representatives with community information about food security that is relevant to their electorate area or portfolio. For example, some initiative leaders would communicate with local elected members in their region to increase awareness about their emergency food relief program, and that would then open up the opportunity for conversations around food security. So after our team interviewed people, we uploaded that data into an online tool called the Tool for Systemic Change. And we used this tool to evaluate the initiative's work against those 36 systems change characteristics that are embedded across those 9 focus areas we discussed earlier. So the tool produces a variety of maps, including these region-based transition cards, and this is the Wheatbelt one here. So this transition card, or also known as our systems change map, visualises how the Wheatbelt food security system is contributing to 36 systems change characteristics across 9 focus areas. So it shows the initiatives we interviewed down the left side here, and then each of those columns are the 9 different focus areas. And then the coloured tiles indicate whether the initiative possesses that focus area's characteristic, and each characteristic aligns with the question asked during the interview. So if the tile is coloured, then the initiative possesses the characteristic, And if it's blank, they either responded no to our question or couldn't provide evidence as to how they possessed the characteristic. So there's no right or wrong answer, and it's not necessarily a bad thing if they don't possess them. It just offers these windows of opportunities to strengthen different parts or aspects of that initiative through small tweaks or changes. Then the tool for systemic change also produces a partnership map, also known as a solution ecosystem, which shows all of the different partnerships and collaborations between the 36 organisations that we identified, and that was based on our interviews. So we identified them to be working on food security within the Wheatbelt region in 2023. So you can also view a larger version of each region's partnership map on our website. But now we're going to have a bit of a deeper look into the Wheatbelt partnership analysis. So looking at the network model type, social network analysis can be used to understand network typology and the structure of that network as a whole. So the Wheatbelt partnership map that we just showed you demonstrates a scattered fragments model, and that indicates a siloed network in the early stages of development. So 22 of those organisations were classified as hubs in the Wheatbelt network. So that means that these organisations connected with more than the average number of partners, and they were essential to spreading information throughout different parts of the network. Then 2 not-for-profit organisations and 1 state government organisation were identified as critical for information sharing. 38 organisations were classified as connected components, meaning that they used their partnerships to receive and share information throughout the network. Then 1 local government organisation was classified as a connecting node, meaning that they were the connection between 2 different partnership clusters. And finally, 2 organisations were unconnected, meaning that they had no partnerships. So throughout our analysis, we also identified common themes about the ways in which organisations are working in partnership in the Wheatbelt region. So key themes included collaboration, coordinated action and capacity building, funding and grants for program delivery, physical and human resources, on-ground program and service delivery, and food and financial donations. So for example, under collaboration, coordinated action and capacity building, initiative leaders collaborated with other organisations working in the same field to coordinate service delivery. So for example, a larger Perth-based organisation partnered with a local Wheatbelt initiative to increase emergency food relief reach. Then next, under funding and grants for program and service delivery, initiatives often received funding and grants for program delivery, with many of them receiving funding from multiple organisations at the same time. For example, a community bus in the Wheatbelt region that would take residents to larger grocery stores was funded by their local shire. Now moving on to on-ground program and service delivery, initiatives often join together to support that on-ground program delivery. For example, there was an initiative in the region that held their nutrition education program at a local community hub, such as community resource centres. Next, physical and human resources. Initiatives regularly shared physical and human resources such as a community garden that is located on shire land and also supported by local volunteers. And finally, under food and financial donations, some food relief initiatives received food donations from larger not-for-profits and were also funded by larger businesses. So during the project, we also asked participants what ideas they had for new initiatives or actions required to better support food security in their region. So in the Wheatbelt, some common ideas included online food shopping, which included free internet and education for online shopping, as well as bulk group shopping to eliminate delivery fees. There was also the idea of government involvement, such as the government paying for water and land for people to grow their own food. There was also the idea of food security plans and networks, which involved a regional food security plan as well as a Wheatbelt community garden network. Next, there were ideas around community gardens and food hampers. For example, people would have their own plots and people would be provided with food hampers that included foods that met their taste preferences. Then, under food education programs, this included education on best before dates and education to increase food growing skills and knowledge on things like seasonal growing. Finally, sustainable farming practices and waste reduction included things like using extra produce that's locally grown, regenerative agricultural practices, and creating surplus drop off points for farmers. So, based on our Wheatbelt findings, the food community team has developed recommendations to support the current food security system to shift towards a more effective way of working. So, this includes Wheatbelt Food Security Initiative leaders strengthening their food security impact by enhancing Focus Area 7 attributes. So, this might be through engaging government representatives in program activities or speaking with them about their food initiative to increase their understanding of how it supports food security in the local region, as well as sharing community member views about food security with government representatives and supporting those government representatives to talk about food security in a way that community members can understand and use, as well as undertaking government advocacy to really get food security on their agenda as well as being actioned. Then Wheatbelt Food Security Initiative leaders could strengthen their food security impact by also enhancing Focus Area 9 attributes by advocating to local, state, or federal government about addressing food security, as well as ensuring that their initiative is listed on the Food Community website Connect section. Additional recommendations include food security initiatives considering the bigger picture of food security when sharing information with their network and undertaking food security activities, as well as the need to support better collaborations between government and community organisations. We've also developed specific recommendations to strengthen the Wheatbelt region's partnership networks, including that organisations should identify and document clear partnership purposes, roles, and actions. If desired, the two unconnected organisations should be supported to connect into their partnership network, and this could be achieved through creating a bank of region-based partnership opportunities, such as through the Food Community website, as well as interagency networking groups. And finally, the Wheatbelt region should be supported to shift across those network stages. This could be done by connecting organisations, increasing collaboration on small food security projects, bringing in new organisations, as well as implementing ways to share information. So that brings us to the end of the Wheatbelt Food Community Snapshot presentation. We would like to acknowledge and thank our project partners and funders which are listed here. And thank you for listening to this presentation. If you have any questions, please email us at foodcommunity@ecu.edu.au. You can also follow us on Facebook to keep updated with the project, and head over to our website and sign up for free to access a variety of resources.